I'm all about little adventures, so I think that you should work for your food. And I'm already really bloody hot because I've just been carrying my cooler in the snow. Take this off. Way too hot. And it should be all kinds of awesome. And I don't think that's how that one goes. But we'll pretend. So I'm at Myra Canyon Ranch in southeast Kelowna in BC, and I thought I'd just do a little bit of camp cooking with you. So just give you a bit of inspiration about what can be done outside when you're being one with nature. So I've just got some yogurt over here, so some local BC yogurt. It's just plain, and then I thought I'd just add some of my chai spices to it. So it's just an easy way when you're having your morning smoothie bowl or you're gonna have oatmeal. You can just give it a bit of a mixy. I'm gonna sweeten it with a bit of maple syrup. And one thing when I go camping is I always take some jam or compote. So I've taken some organic plums. Preserved them during the winter time, and then I made a bit of compote out of it. So it's just give it a swirl. And it's as easy as that. Mint leaves. And always just make sure you're tasting things. There's no real rules when it comes to food. As long as it tastes good, that's all that matters. Cool. I've always been playing around with spice blends. So one of them is to take the chai spices, which primarily is like green cardamom, fennel, some cinnamon in there and some other stuff. And then just roast it and grind it. And then it becomes this awesome, really fragrant mix that you can put in pretty much anything. So I made a syrup for a cocktail, which is a tea syrup, just a black tea syrup with sugar, water, and then chai spices, and let it steep. And then that just gets infused, so you can use it in cocktails, you can use it as part of your smoothies, you can use it in anything. You can use it with your baked goods as well, so your favorite cake recipe. And then it just puts a little bit of a Indian something to it, and it becomes a bit Indian-ish, because I'm kind of a bit Indian-ish. So there we go. I love cooking with wild game. Wild foods have been quite a new experience for me since I've come to Canada. In England, you don't really have too much of a game culture. It tends to just be something that's more so associated with the rich, but it's very different from being here. So one of the things I wanted to do to make this home is to go hunting, and I was part of a show called From the Wild, and I've got some mule deer, so this is an outside round. And we're going to just show you how you can do a really simple thing with it, and just using some of my spice blends. So the first thing I'm actually going to do before only this hand has been contaminated is I'm going to get the potatoes on. So I've got some potatoes over here. They're all BC nugget potatoes. And then I've got some water, so we're going to just get some potato action boiling. We're just going to boil them, and then I'm going to put them in the pan with some butter and some chives and just roast them as well, and then that's going to go with the venison. I'm just trimming off some of this extra fat, and then I'm going to just render it down, and then you'll have some cooking oil as well. So I'm actually going to use a bit of a royal spice. So when I was in the wild, there's this regal quality to a doe, to any deer really, and it was quite something when you see the sacrifice of an animal. So when I came back, I really wanted to try and pay tribute to it. And then I did lots of research beforehand. So when you look at the hunting and game culture, there is even one that in India you would have a hunting and game culture with the Raj and the royals that's over there. So it made sense for me to do something that was quite expensive, in a sense of, you know, you're using spices that are black cardamom and cinnamon and clove and those kind of more savory notes that are a bit more expensive as well. I add in a bit of chili because I think red meat is one of those things that it can handle some heat. Don't touch yourself if you're going to go pee in the woods, gentlemen. that could be quite tragic. I'm not responsible for that. Potatoes are quite a scientific thing. You just poke it, and if it's soft, it will come off. I'm just going to be taking these potatoes because they're cooked and straining them off and then putting them in Mother Nature's fridge, which is the snow. And then we're going to cook up our meat. So you want your cast iron or your pan just to be ripping hot. This is a good indication of that. And what we're just going to do is just, that's what you want to hear. So we're just going to brown it on all sides. And then I'm going to check on my campfire dal. And that's rehydrating quite nicely. I wouldn't normally recommend having a piece of wood sticking out of your solo stove, but we're going to make it work. I like a challenge. I think we're pretty good. So now I thought I'd just like baste it with some garlic and butter, because butter makes it better. But then take it back to the forest. So I've got some juniper that was foraged, and I've got some fir as well that I'm just gonna stick in there. Just give it a nice little lashing. But it's really important for however long you cook your meat, you want to rest your meat as well, so all those juices just completely gets back into the meat. So we have our boiled potatoes, and potatoes are something that you can just have in your camp kit all the time. But we've got all this delicious goodness over here from the meat, the juices, the butter, the juniper. So I just want to get these nice and crispy. I'm just going to add it in. That's a good sound. Woo! So I'm just going to be cutting up my meat. It's just been rested as well. So already you can see all the juices redistributing to it, and you get that nice pink. And so I'm going to cut it quite chunky and just let it do its thing. The most important thing is that you should always taste your food. So, pretty delicious. And the cook isn't too bad either. I think there's just something really magical about cooking outside and cooking on fire. I think it's super cool when you get to do something that's relatively straightforward. Like, all we did was season the meat and add a spice blend to it. And anyone could do that. Woo. Woo.